Have you ever wondered how India has influenced global geopolitics, especially after the Cold War? Geopolitics, as complex as it sounds, is simply the study of the effects of Earth's geography on politics and international relations. It's a dance of power and influence that shapes the world as we know it. But when the music changed dramatically after the Cold War, did the dance steps change as well? The Cold War, a period of geopolitical tension between the Soviet Union and the United States, dramatically altered the global political landscape. It was a chess game of ideologies, democracy versus communism, each side vying for dominance. But what about the other players on the board? Where did they fit into this grand scheme? Enter India. A land of diversity and tradition, India's role in this global chess game was unique. During the Cold War, India did not align itself with either of the two major powers. Instead, it chose a path of non-alignment, steering clear of the ideological tug-of-war and focusing on its own national interests. But with the end of the Cold War, the global landscape shifted. The bipolar world gave way to a multipolar one, with new power centers emerging, and India, with its growing economy and strategic location, began to play a more significant role on the global stage. However, India's journey in the post-Cold War world has been far from straightforward. It has been a path marked by economic liberalization, nuclear ambitions, and a growing influence in the 21st century. Each of these milestones has shaped India's role in global geopolitics, influencing its relations with other nations and its stance on global issues. India's story in the post-Cold War world is one of evolution and transformation. Its role on the global stage has been shaped by its history, its choices, and its aspirations. It's a story that sheds light on India's place in the world, its influence, and its potential. As we delve into this discussion, let us first understand the key events that have shaped this journey. The year 1991 marked a significant turning point for India, both economically and politically. A severe balance of payments crisis forced the country to seek assistance from the International Monetary Fund. This aid came with strict conditions, prompting India to embark on a journey of economic liberalization. Prior to 1991, the Indian economy was heavily regulated and controlled by the government. Industries were insulated from competition, and foreign investment was discouraged. But the economic crisis catalyzed an era of change. The government opened up the economy, reduced tariffs, and welcomed foreign direct investment. This liberalization had far-reaching impacts. It allowed Indian businesses to compete globally, leading to the rise of multinational corporations like Infosys and Tata. It also attracted foreign enterprises, bringing in technology, expertise, and capital. This influx of foreign investment fueled economic growth and propelled India onto the global stage. The liberalization also shifted India's role in international economic forums. The country became a founding member of the World Trade Organization in 1995. Here, India has played a key role in advocating for the interests of developing nations, particularly in areas such as agriculture and services. It has consistently pushed for more equitable trade rules, challenging the dominance of developed countries. India also became more active in other global economic forums like the G20 and BRICS. It used these platforms to promote a more inclusive global economic order, reflecting its own experience of development and liberalization. However, this economic liberalization wasn't without its challenges. There were concerns about social equity and environmental sustainability. But despite these issues, India's economic transformation was largely successful. It helped lift millions out of poverty and turned India into one of the world's fastest-growing major economies. So, the economic liberalization of 1991 didn't just transform India's economy, it reshaped India's role in the world, increasing its global integration and influence. It marked India's transition from a closed, inward-looking economy to an open, globally engaged one. This economic transformation laid the foundation for India's more assertive role in global geopolitics. In 1998, India shocked the world by conducting nuclear tests. This unexpected move catapulted India into the exclusive club of nuclear-armed nations, a move that was fraught with global implications. India's nuclear ambitions were not born in a vacuum. They were the product of a complex interplay of regional tensions, national security concerns, and the desire to assert its sovereignty and power on the global stage. The most immediate and palpable tension was, and still is, with its neighbor and long-standing rival, Pakistan. The nuclear tests intensified this regional rivalry, escalating it into a nuclear arms race that has had the world on edge. Pakistan, feeling threatened, responded to India's tests by conducting its own nuclear tests, further raising the stakes. This escalation has had far-reaching implications not just for the two countries, but for the entire world. The specter of a nuclear conflict in South Asia has loomed large ever since, making the region one of the world's most dangerous nuclear flashpoints. The international response to India's nuclear tests was swift and severe. Sanctions were imposed by several countries, including the United States and Japan. However, India stood its ground, arguing that the tests were a necessary deterrent in a hostile neighborhood. Over time, the international community began to adjust to the reality of a nuclear-armed India. The sanctions were gradually lifted, and India was even given a waiver by the Nuclear Suppliers Group, allowing it to engage in civilian nuclear trade. India's nuclear ambitions have had far-reaching implications, not just regionally, but globally. They challenged the existing nuclear order, raised questions about nuclear proliferation, and put the spotlight on the need for a more inclusive and equitable global nuclear regime. India's nuclear tests were a bold assertion of its strategic autonomy. They signaled that India was not afraid to chart its own course, even if it meant going against the grain of global opinion. This bold move significantly changed the way the world perceived India's geopolitical stance. As we moved into the 21st century, India's role in global geopolitics continued to evolve. India's increasing influence on the global stage was recognized with its inclusion in the BRICS alliance. This group, which also includes Brazil, Russia, China, and South Africa, represents some of the most powerful emerging economies of the world. India's inclusion not only acknowledged its economic potential, but also its strategic importance in shaping the future of global geopolitics. India's role in this alliance has been noteworthy. It has consistently advocated for a more equitable global order, emphasizing the importance of mutual respect and cooperation among nations. This is reflected in its stance on issues like global trade and economic governance. Moving on, India's increasing involvement in global climate change negotiations is another testament to its growing stature. The country has been at the forefront of advocating for the rights of developing nations in these dialogues. India's leadership in the International Solar Alliance and its ambitious goals for renewable energy demonstrate its commitment to be a part of the solution to this global crisis. In the face of the global war on terror, India's response has been firm and unequivocal. The country has been a victim of terrorism for decades and has always called for a comprehensive strategy to combat this menace. India's approach emphasizes the need to address not just the symptoms, but also the root causes of terrorism, including state sponsorship. India's efforts to enhance regional security, particularly in the South Asian and Indian Ocean region, have also contributed to its growing influence. Through initiatives like the Neighborhood First policy and active participation in regional forums, India has been striving to foster a climate of peace and stability in its immediate vicinity. These developments have further cemented India's place in the global geopolitical landscape. India's rise in the 21st century is not just about its economic prowess or military strength. It is about a nation that is increasingly confident of its role in shaping the world order, based on its own unique perspectives and values. In the post-Cold War world, India has emerged as a key player. As the old power dynamics realigned, India seized the opportunity to redefine its position on the global stage. Its transition from a non-aligned nation to a significant player in global geopolitics has been both fascinating and complex. India's economic transformation played a crucial role in its geopolitical rise. Following the end of the Cold War, India embarked on a path of economic liberalization. It opened up its economy to foreign investments and embraced globalization, which in turn fueled its economic growth. As its economy grew in size and strength, so did its global influence. Today, India is one of the world's largest economies and an important hub for global trade and investment. Alongside economic transformation, India's nuclear ambitions have also shaped its geopolitical standing. By developing nuclear capabilities, India not only ensured its security in a volatile neighborhood, but also asserted its position as a major global power. The nuclear tests of 1998 were a clear statement of India's intent to have a significant say in matters of global security and nuclear non-proliferation. In the 21st century, India's global influence has continued to grow. Its active participation in international forums, its role in peacekeeping missions, and its efforts to tackle global challenges like climate change and terrorism have earned it respect and recognition. Furthermore, India's soft power, driven by its vibrant culture and democratic values, has also contributed to its global standing. India's journey is marked by strategic diplomacy and evolving domestic policies. It has successfully navigated the complexities of global politics, balancing its relations with major powers while advocating for the interests of the developing world. It has leveraged its economic strength, nuclear capabilities, and soft power to carve out a unique space for itself in global geopolitics. India's journey from a non-aligned nation to a key player in global geopolitics is a testament to its strategic diplomacy and evolving domestic policies.